Hey, welcome back to my studio. Today I'm going to show you 2 ways to varnish a painting. I just finished this new painting of a capybara for my son in oil paints, and it's dry and I'm ready to varnish it. And I'm going to be using this spray varnish to do that. I'm using this Krylon Gallery Series Archival varnish. This one has a gloss finish. It's non-yellowing. You want to make sure that where you're spraying it is well ventilated. And then it's really important to shake the varnish for about 2 minutes really well before you use it. This varnish dries in about 10 to 15 minutes. You can handle it after 2 hours, and you can add more coats once it's dry at any point in time if you need to. I use this horsehair drafting brush to wipe off the surface of the painting to get rid of any dust or hair. If you don't have one of these, you can just use a really clean, soft paintbrush. Now that the painting is all set up vertically and the space around it is protected, the varnish has been shaken really well. It's time to take the lid off. And we're gonna clear the nozzle just by running a row on the surface before we get to the painting. Mine's coming out nice and even and clear. So I'm gonna start by sweeping from left to right from the top and going back the other direction, making smooth sweeping layers across the whole thing that will overlap. We don't wanna overdo it because it will get runny. So once I get to the bottom, I'm gonna give it a minute to rest, and then I'm going to turn the painting and do it the other way. And still having it upright and even, I'm gonna grab the can and I'm gonna do the same thing. It's important to hold the can about 10 to 12 inches away. And this varnish dries within about 15 minutes. It'll be ready to handle by the next day. You'll want to put 2 to 3 coats of varnish on, and you don't want to obviously touch it or let anything fall on it while it's still wet. It's important when you're done varnishing that you clear the valve so that it's ready for next time. You do this by turning the can upside down and spraying until nothing but clear gas comes out. And that's it. Okay, let's talk about why to varnish a painting in the first place, because not everybody does this. There are arguments on both sides, but I prefer to varnish my oil paintings and my acrylic paintings for 2 reasons. One is it offers a layer of protection. It protects it from UV, so when it's hanging in a house, if it's being blasted by sunlight, which you should try to avoid putting your paintings in places where they're getting constant sunlight. But inevitably, UV rays are gonna hit your artwork, and there's an extra protection when you coat it in a UV protecting varnish. Also, it offers a physical barrier. So if it gets dirty or dusty or something splatters on it, you have a protective coating over it when you need to clean it. And 2, you can have a nice uniform finish of your choice on the piece. So you can get the gloss, the semi-gloss, or the matte finish. And sometimes when you're painting with oil or acrylic, different paints, different pigments, different brands, depending on what medium or thinners you've used, can come out differently in the end. So you might have an area of the painting that is shinier than another part, or that looks brighter than another part. And when you varnish it, you give your piece a nice uniform finish across the whole entire canvas. Okay, let's talk about the next kind of varnish. This painting is dry to the touch in even the thickest places, and so it is ready for me to use this Gamvar varnish. I like this to use on some pieces, and I like to spray the varnish on some pieces, and honestly, it's gonna be personal preference for you. Sometimes for smaller pieces, it's easier to just brush it on. Sometimes the larger pieces I find easier to spray. And I don't really have a strong pull one way or the other. It kind of just depends on what is more convenient for the piece and for me at that particular time. So the spray varnish that I showed you dries really fast, and it's easy to handle within like 2 hours after spraying it. Whereas this one takes a little bit longer. Let's see, it says on here, I don't actually even know, it doesn't say. But I want to say in the past when I use this one, I leave my painting for at least a full 24 hours before I handle it. So it's up to you what you want to use. But one thing I will tell you is that I see all over social media people pouring varnish directly onto their paintings in a pool, and then they slowly drag it across the painting. And you do not want to do that. You can go right now onto the website for Gamblin and you can read their tutorials and probably search their own videos on here too, and they will tell you you actually want to use the smallest amount of varnish that is necessary, and you want to scrub it in with the brush. You don't want to just pour and sweep it across the painting. So I'm going to show you the right way to do it. So I'm gonna actually, I've cleaned my canvas with my brush, my drafting brush. I've made sure that there's no hairs, no dirt or dust or anything on the surface. The surface is nice and clean and ready for the varnish. So I'm gonna just pour some of the varnish in this little glass jar, and I'm gonna use this brush that I like from Gamvar. This is their brush made for varnishing. You can use any clean, soft brush that you like, but I actually really like their brush for this. So I only use this brush for the varnish. I do not use it for painting or gluing or anything else. I recommend that you keep a brush dedicated for varnishing too, and make sure that you keep it clean. All right, I'm getting ready to start varnishing this painting. So according to Gamblin, you want to shake the varnish really well before you use it. And I did check, it takes about 24 hours for a thin layer to dry. And they say on their own website to use as little as possible and to vigorously scrub it into your painting. So once I have this shaken really well, I'm gonna use, this is the jar that I use only for varnishing. I'm going to go ahead and pour some of the varnish into the jar here. I'm gonna pour a small amount. You can always add more later. Also, if you do use a jar like this, just make sure that you wipe it out and keep it clean, because you don't want anything dirty in your jar. So I've got my varnish, just a small amount in there, and I'm using my varnish brush. So you're gonna just dab some varnish on there, and then we're gonna go right into the painting and start scrubbing, like you're scumbling it in. And we're gonna work from that point outward until we cover the whole thing. You wanna make sure that it doesn't pool up in any one particular spot either. If it does, you wanna spread it out from there and keep scrubbing. I'm gonna get it right up to the edge of the painting. Some people like to varnish the sides of the canvas as well. That's up to you if you want to do that. So now you can probably see why sometimes it's easier to spray varnish a larger painting, because you have to do this whole process to cover the entire painting. And if you have a really large piece, it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a lot of varnish too. Although not as much as people seem to think, because I still haven't refilled my cup yet. And if you notice any bubbles, you wanna make sure that you get those. The ones that I'm seeing come up here are resolving on their own, but if you see any that are sticking around, you wanna get those bubbles out of there before you're finished. You don't want those to dry on there. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this canvas around just so I can get the other side really easy. got the whole piece covered, I'm just checking for any areas that have gotten like thicker pools. I'm bending down low so that I can see it at different angles in the light. And that helps me tell like which areas are fully covered, that are nice and shiny, and which ones I might have missed or not gotten so well. Once you've covered the whole piece, then you can go and feather out and smooth out the painting from edge to edge to make sure that it's nice and even and that there's no thicker spots pulling up anywhere, and that you've spread it out. All right, that is a nice thin coat of varnish on this painting. It looks like the whole thing is covered well, so I'm gonna close up the jar, and now I'm gonna let this dry for about 24 hours before I come back and handle it. When I do come back, I'm gonna take another look at it just to make sure that it has the coverage that I need. If not, I can go back and apply a second very thin coat as well. But usually I find one coat is just plenty, and it gives it a nice, beautiful, shiny finish look. It evens out all of the painting. The different pigments and the different applications of paint are uniform in finish, and I know that this painting is nice and protected. All right, after you're done varnishing, you want to make sure that you wash your brush really good with soap and water to clean it out. You want to make sure that the jar that you use stays nice and clean, and then you're finished. If you can, I recommend varnishing in batches. So finish a bunch of paintings first, let them all dry, and then you can varnish all of them at once. But either way, clean that brush really good, try to get it nice and dry, and make sure it's totally dry before you varnish again the next time. Varnish is really sticky, so make sure you clean it good. The key to having a nice soft brush for next time is to clean it and dry it really well. So I'm using a bar of Fel's Naphtha soap to clean this brush. And then I wipe off the excess water, but you'll want to let it air dry. So put it somewhere safe where you can air dry it. Do not put the excess varnish down the drain. This is why I only pour a tiny bit at a time. So I have barely anything left in here. Just wipe it out really good. That way it will be ready for next time. Well, now you know 2 ways to varnish your painting. I'm curious if you have a preference for one over the other, or if you have any other tips that I didn't mention that you know of that you want to share with me, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you have questions that I didn't go over, or any questions that you would like me to talk about in the future, please let me know. I'm always happy to try to help however I can. Thanks for watching the video today. I'll catch you in the studio next time.